cardiovascular disease in 2020 took almost 1 million lives. Coronary heart disease itself claimed almost 400,000 lives in 2020. This is a staggering number though. Look at this number. This is what cardiovascular disease costs in this country. Over $400 billion of cost, to take care of cardiovascular patients. Now remember those numbers, because like I said, I have some really good news for you guys. You ready for it? Okay, so here we go. So, and you know what? I became keenly aware of cardiovascular disease as an ER doctor. Normally we see heart attacks in 40, 50, and 60-year-olds. But when I was practicing in the 90s, I was actually seeing heart attacks in 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. In fact, believe it or not, I had an 18-year-old that came in with a heart attack. And there's just this disconnect that we have. And in fact, scary donut there, right? So it's interesting, when I was a medical student in the 80s, and Dr. Roberta will know this if she's out there, I did my cardiovascular rotation in medical school at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Dayton, Ohio. I love my Dayton people. Love you guys. But you know what, listen to this. So I walk in to the lounge, and this is during my cardiovascular rotation. I walk in, doctors are smoking, there's donuts, there's Pop-Tarts, there's junk everywhere. And I didn't smoke, but I sure ate the donuts because I'm a poor medical student. What else am I gonna do, right? But the crazy thing is, you guys, so we would finish, eating, smoking, whatever, and then we march off to suite number 4 and do a 4-vessel bypass in somebody's heart. I mean, think about that disconnect, right? So doctors have that disconnect as well. So let's get back to this, exercise. How much do we need? Well, only 1 in 5 adults and teenagers really gets enough exercise to maintain good health. We really want to strive for 150 minutes of mild to moderate exercise, which you guys really is 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that's it. Or 75 minutes of more vigorous activity. But when it comes to fruits and veggies, and you heard a little bit just a minute ago, we're not getting enough. The CDC came out about 2 years ago and said only about 1 in 10 Americans barely get enough fruits and veggies in their diet. So we really want to strive for 5 to 7 servings, and really you want to really try to push that up to 7 to 13 servings. But the problem is, we can't do that. We don't do that as a society. And so, the traditional way that people have been trying to bridge that gap is by taking vitamins and multivitamins. But clearly, the research shows that those are not effective in reducing cardiovascular disease. So, with that in mind, what should we be bridging the gap with? Thank you! Bam! Functional powdered produce, you guys. That's what we have. And since they went through it, I'm going to go through. It's really quick. Up to 30 different fruits, veggies, berries, and capsules. And again, it's harvested. We work intimately with local farmers to make sure we have the greatest produce. And then it's cleaned, juiced, blended, and dried to preserve those nutrients. And then it's encapsulated and tested, NSF certified, tested, to make sure that what's in it is in it, and what's not in it is not in it. It's completely safe, right? No herbicides, no pesticides, no irradiation, no banned substances, no preservatives, non-GMO, gluten-free, and no warning label, you guys. It's food. But this is it. This is what got me into this company, other than my wife, and you guys kind of know that story. It's the science, you guys. That's who we are. This is what distinguishes us from every other nutritional supplement on the market today. Yes! Let me hear it. Over 40 published studies in peer-reviewed journals. It's been studied in institutions like Harvard, Medical University of Graz, MD Anderson Cancer Center, Nemours Children's Clinic in Jacksonville, and Yale. And then look at the citations, the journals that this has been published in. Our research has been published in some of the highest impact journals around: Medicine and Science and Sports and Exercise, Gynecological Oncology, Journal of the American College of Cardiology. You guys, this is exactly who we are. This is our product, and this is our research. So what I want to do is take some of that research and tie it in to cardiovascular disease, and how can we lower our risk for cardiovascular disease. So the pathology between obesity and sedentary behavior, we got some problems. And the three big metabolic processes that get us into trouble with cardiac disease is oxidative stress, inflammation, and vessel dysfunction. So we need to have some preventative measures, right? So let's start off with oxidative stress. I like to compare oxidative stress to a car engine. You know, a car engine utilizes gasoline to combust and make a usable form of energy to make that car run. And that does, but it comes with a bad byproduct called exhaust. Well, our body's engines are called mitochondria. And it's these ovoid organelles that exist inside the cells of our bodies. These are the powerhouses of our body, right? This is where energy from the food that you eat, combined with the oxygen that you breathe in, goes into making a usable form of energy to make your body run. That's something called ATP. But this is not an airtight process, right? And not all those molecules are utilized in the production of energy in the form of ATP. And so what happens is that you end up with this spillover effect of these highly charged reactive oxygen species, otherwise known as free radicals. And free radicals, if they're not effectively neutralized, can very quickly escape from the mitochondria, and then they begin to do damage to our nearby healthy cells silently, without us actually feeling it. You know, free radicals can attack the membranes that surround our cells and tissues. They can attack the proteins inside of our bodies, which is key if you're an athlete. You know, free radicals can attack our DNA, and real importantly, free radicals can attack the very mitochondria that form them. And the reason that's important is because those are your energy producers, right? And loss of energy production is something we do not want. But it's important to understand that not all oxidative stress is bad for our body. There's a process called hormesis. And what that is that a little bit of oxidative stress actually acts as a cell signal. It signals our bodies to adapt. It signals our bodies to change. So a little bit of oxidative stress actually revs up our mitochondria. So we have more ATP production, and that's good. We all want that. It increases health span, lifespan. But when that oxidative stress overwhelms our antioxidant system, that's when you have problems. That's when you have the mitochondria being shut down, and you end up with cell death. We don't want that. And we know that oxidative stress plays a role in almost every pathology inside the human body, particularly cardiovascular disease. Now, fortunately, do you guys like that slide? Somebody explain it to me, please. No, the reason I put this up, we come equipped with, we're all born with this complex internal enzymatic and non-enzymatic cascade that acts as a frontline defense system in attempting to neutralize these free radicals. But the important thing to understand is that this system cannot function by itself. It has to be fortified every single day, and we do so through our diets, rich in fruits and veggies, and our daily Juice Plus, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do this. And so we're talking about reducing oxidative stress. Our company has multiple studies that show that Juice Plus reduces oxidative stress. My favorite one is Dr. Lamprecht's study on the Austrian Special Forces Cobra unit. And it was basically a 28-week study. And there were two groups in the study, groups of athletes that took Juice Plus, all three blends, and a group of athletes that took the dummy pill, the placebo. And Dr. Lamprecht wanted to know what kind of protein oxidation or damage is occurring in these athletes' bodies as they exercise periodically during the study. Without going into great detail, what they found out is that the placebo group had a significant increase in these oxidized proteins called carbonyl proteins. So their oxidative stress was really high. Compared to the Juice Plus group, they didn't have any accumulation of these oxidized proteins, which is tremendous, not just for athletes, but everybody else. So we know that just one study, but multiple studies have shown that Juice Plus, again, will reduce oxidative stress. So that's one of those bad boys we can get rid of in oxidative stress. Our research shows it's very clear. So how about inflammation? Well, a normal inflammatory reaction would be as if you were to get a cut. And that wound, as it heals, becomes inflamed, right? It gets red, hot, nasty, heals, eventually. But when that inflammation goes haywire and becomes this low-level, toxic, kind of smoldering inflammation, that has been tied to chronic disease conditions across the board. But again, through our research, multiple studies have shown that Juice Plus will reduce systemic inflammation by reducing systemic markers, or inflammatory markers, like C-reactive protein, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and a few of these I can't even pronounce. but it's very, very effective. So that's bad boy number two, that our research shows that we can help reduce our risk for cardiovascular disease. And then how about vessel dysfunction? You know, they have shown after you eat a high-fat meal that your arteries constrict. And they can stay constricted up to 6 hours. And the way they measure that is through brachial artery blood flow. So in this particular study, it was published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. That's a high-impact journal. It was a 4-week study, and there were 3 groups in this study. One group of individuals who took the placebo for the 4 weeks. One group of individuals who took Juice Plus fruit and veg caps, and another group that took Juice Plus fruit, veg, and berry caps. And what they did is they tested them 3 different times. They tested them at baseline before they started the protocol. 21 days, they tested them again, and then 28 days. So what they did is they fed them a high-fat meal, which is 50 grams of fat. And then they waited 3 hours, and then they tested their blood flow. And again, without going into great detail, what they found out, the placebo group, all 3 times they tested, they were given a high-fat meal, their vessels were still constricted. But take a look in the middle. Just the Juice Plus fruit and veggie, when they tested their blood flow, their vessels were relaxing and dilating back to normal. And then when you add in the far right over there, you add the berry blend in there, look what it does. It's amazing how it can lessen the constriction through our research, right? Love that study. But in most of what we're seeing here, and why Juice Plus is so effective, is because of the high polyphenol count. And what happens is that when we eat Juice Plus, it interacts with our microbiome, and you get metabolites that then trigger some genes to be turned on, good genes. And genes that have to do with making more mitochondria, so you have more energy. Revs up our antioxidant system. Glucose and lipid homeostasis occurs. The whole list you can see right there. You guys, the reason why I put this up, because everything's about the microbiome. I love this because you know what? We have a study that shows that Juice Plus can modulate genomic expression. Are you excited about that? Oh, and this has nothing to do with my talk, but I'm going to do this really quick. So we have smoothies, right? We put berries and bananas and stuff in our smoothies. Well, what they found out is that bananas have a high level of an enzyme called polyphenol oxidase. And polyphenol oxidase actually degrades polyphenols in berries and stuff. So when you mix your banana with your berries, you might want to put a few more berries in there, or just separate the two. But that's just a factoid I had to throw in there. It's kind of nerdy. And yes, I'm a nerd. So we've done these prevention strategies. These are prevention strategies. What does that mean? Well, we're protecting our bodies, right? And our research proves that. But by protecting your body, you're actually optimizing your physiology. You're preparing your body to perform at its very best every single day. Human performance is dependent on this. So I have just walked you on the left from cardiovascular disease to the right to cardiovascular wellness, cardiovascular fitness. So what does that look like for you and me? And I'm sure that you all can identify with this. We need good cardiovascular fitness to chase around our kids or grandparents. Now I got 3 grandkids. You got to chase them. We want that wellness. How about cleaning your house? How about going to the grocery store and lifting bags? How about gardening? How about kids playing on the playground? How about older folks doing yoga or exercising? Over the age of 60, we need to keep moving. But this is my favorite. You guys check this picture out. It could be my lovely wife, my 2 girls. My lovely wife with our 50-pound brand new golden doodle puppy. Is that not awesome or what? Or it could be the 2 of us cutting a rug at a Juice Plus conference, right? Cardiovascular fitness, that's what we want, right? How about daily work performance? Firemen and firewomen, they carry like 50 to 60 pounds of stuff on their back. They need good cardiovascular wellness. So do police officers. So do postal workers or UPS workers. So do teachers. These are all performance things that happen every single day that if you've got a good cardiovascular system, you're going to do just fine. And again, I'm not making any claims here. I'm just saying optimize your physiology for the best performance you can have every single day. And then there's physiologic performance. Muscle soreness can be easily remedied because it's a combination of oxidative stress and inflammation. And we've seen that after exercise, you can decrease that inflammatory process. My good buddy Jeff Olson talked about this yesterday. The ultimate in daily human performance is in pregnancy, right? Getting those nutrients into the mom and out into her sweet fetus, right? Diabetics have small vessel disease. And we've shown that Juice Plus can dilate up vessels and get those nutrients and get oxygen and maybe help reduce the incidence of of peripheral ulcerations. But this is a big one, and I don't have time to go into this. But you guys, many of you know I broke my hip several years ago, and the doctor said it would be a 9 to 12 month recovery. And I'm like, no, I'm taking Juice Plus, you guys. You have no idea. 3 months, you guys. 3 months. Think about it. And this is my finish at the Ironman World Championship. Some of you have seen this. I was 44 at the time, and I'd only been on Juice Plus for about a year. And I had the best race of my life. It's amazing. But if this 44-year-old guy knew what I knew then, I wish I had known it when I was 10 years old. Right? Look at the tie-dye suit. Is that not amazing or what? Does it date me or what? But I'm on the podium. I'm number one. So are you, right? But again, what I love about this, you guys, is this company loves families. We love our families, right? We're all about taking care of everybody to get healthy. And so we're talking about athletic performance now, right? Aren't we? And I picked this picture. This is the dining hall at the Rio Olympics. And I thought it was a pretty healthy picture until, look where those arrows are pointing there. Yeah. So, but anyway, a friend of mine who's a physical therapist who traveled to Rio with the team. And he was sitting there talking to some of the European athletes, because they tend to eat a lot better than we do. And he asked the question, the Europeans asked him, why do so many American athletes eat dessert for breakfast? Right? I'll take that instead. Oh, you guys, you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Ultimate performance, you guys. These people understand a plant-based diet and how powerful that is to athletic performance. They understand our research, and I'm not saying anything more about it because they're coming on after me. And so, I want to remember those numbers that I brought up about the mortality and the financial burden that cardiovascular disease places on our body. Well, I've got such really good news. We have a study that we don't talk much about, but we are now. And I could tell you about this study, but what I want to do is bring out somebody who actually commissioned this study. And we all know this man. We all love him. He's our head lead researcher. And he's also the executive director of the Juice Plus Science Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I'm bringing out? Dr. Manfred Lamprecht. So, Manfred, why don't you explain this study and the impact our product has on cardiovascular disease?
Thanks for bringing this up, David. So this study, probably the title of this study seems a little bit difficult to understand, but it's easy to explain and understand what the researchers from Italy and the United States in Colorado did there. There was the hypothesis and question at Juice Plus years ago whether fruit, veg, and berry capsules are able to reduce the numbers of coronary heart disease events and probably the related cost to that. And the basic idea to that came from a man who is sitting here in the first row among us. It was the genius Mr. John Blair. Thanks, John, for that. Who said to me, Manfred, is there a possibility that we can modulate this based on the research we have, and can you formulate hypotheses on that and find independent researchers out there in the world to check this hypothesis? So I scanned our academic landscape, and we have, as you know, connections all over the world. And the excellent biostatisticians, epidemiologists, or public health experts from Colorado and Padua said, this is really interesting. We go for this. Let's check that. So what they did in this study is they made a calculation based on commonly regarded, accepted, and scientifically validated risk factors. For example, like cholesterol or homocysteine, which is the short form up there. I see it's HCY. So we all know if we can reduce our total cholesterol level in the body, we also reduce the risk for coronary heart diseases. If we can reduce homocysteine or improve blood pressure, our risk is reduced. So they made the calculation on these biomarkers, and they scanned the scientific landscape and publications on fruit and vegetable supplementation, and wanted to find out, are there data out on reducing these risk markers and of course at the end of the day reducing the coronary heart disease events. The result was that they only found one product with adequate research to that. Which product was it? Exactly. But this is also the explanation why you see here up on the paper in a neutral language that they describe it fruit and vegetable concentrate or fruit veg supplementation, because they originally searched for all products of this kind, but Choose Plus was the only one with data. So they modeled this, and before I come to these impressive numbers you already see up there, I want to make a clear statement as well regarding independent research. This was independent research. What does this mean? We came up with a hypothesis and the research questions and asked the researchers whether they want to follow this path. And then we contracted that, and from there onwards, we had no say anymore on the study. Not on the methods, not on the statistics, not on the data collection and monitoring, not on the results, not on the publication, not on the interpretation of results. In other words, if these researchers would have found that the intake of Choose Plus increases the numbers of coronary heart disease or the cost, we would have no say. Really a bad situation for us, because they published this in the Journal of Clinical Medicine. That's not nothing. It's a renowned scientific journal. So probably I had some sleepless nights. I was hoping that since you cannot predict what's coming out there, that at least they will find a few thousand savings and probably a few $100,000 of cost savings. But when I saw the results, I would say it was one of my science birthdays in my more than 30 years of career of research. They found out, and now symbolically fasten your seatbelts, they found out that supplementation with Choose Plus could reduce the number of coronary heart disease events by more than 62 million cases in the US population over 10 years.
Think about that. Think about that.
I have to add something to that. The calculation on homocysteine, for example, on cholesterol, were calculated on mortality. In other words, I can lean out the window and say, this calculation showed that more than 60 million people in the US would stay alive if they would take Choose Plus.
Think about that.
Yeah, I think it's... So, but this number was not the highest number I found in the first report and then finally in the publication. They found out that the direct cost savings related to this, direct cost, not all cost, direct cost to coronary heart diseases. So we are talking about costs on surgery, operation, hospitalization, rehabilitation. That the direct cost reduction related to that was more than 109 billion US dollars.
Think about that, you guys. Amazing.
I had problems to read it in the beginning. Specifically, I lost my breath. So I think these are really amazing data and can really demonstrate how Choose Plus fruit, veg, and berry capsules can support public health and even the healthcare system.
Right. Awesome. Right? So, Manfred, did they test, or did they use other food groups to compare to Choose Plus in this?
Yes. After the first research, they came back to me and said, there's just one product on fruit and vegetable supplementation in the scientific world to find. And then I asked them, maybe at least compare it, maybe you find some other nutritional interventions you can compare. And they found a few data on, for example, orange juice or fruit and vegetable drinks or cherry juice. But what I can say that Choose Plus, fruit, veg, and berry capsules performed by distance to the second at best in this row of
Did you guys hear that? Oh my God.
It was absolutely the best. So no more nothing to say, ladies and gentlemen, the numbers tell the story.
Yeah?